Your Excellencies, Prime Minister Mia Mottley, Prime Minister Justin Trudeau, and fellow advocates, it's a true pleasure to welcome you all. Unfortunately, the Deputy Secretary General is on a plane right now and would love to have been here with us and sends her best. Her Majesty Queen Mathilde and Her Highness Sheikh Moza, as well as a few of the other advocates, send their deep regrets. It's my honor to share a short overview to start us off. The past months since September have been very eventful. At the annual meeting with the Secretary General, we discussed the need for a new social contract. Second, the need to reform the global financial architecture. And third, the need for a sophisticated data system to accurately measure global progress of the SDGs. I'm happy to say we've taken up all three issues. Since our meeting with the SDG Moment, Gabi, and the Transforming Education Summit were held very successfully. Our sincere thanks to all who participated. The SG launched the SDG Stimulus, and PM Mottley's Bridgetown initiative is moving with tremendous forward momentum. COP27 saw an agreement on loss and damage and multi-stakeholder commitments to make early warning systems available for all, including a commitment from Brad. Thank you. Under Her Highness Sheikh Moza's leadership, the SDGs were highlighted for the first time at the World Cup. Kailash participated in the opening, and the DSG was at the closing. Her Majesty Queen Mathilde visited Bangladesh, bringing attention to the progress of the SDGs in the country, with a special focus on the status of the Rohingya refugees at Cox's Bazar. LDC 5 also received a lot of traction. Congratulations again to Brad for leading the private sector forum. And Dia, as always, thank you for your inspired actions and amplification of the SG on climate action. The list really does go on, and I don't do it justice to the range of your engagements, but it gives a good idea of just how impactful this group has been, and we sincerely appreciate your tireless dedication. Looking forward, using a sporting analogy, we've reached the halftime of the SDGs, and sadly, we're down at halftime. The SDG Progress Report launched just this week shows that only 12% of the SDG targets are on track. However, we know that any match is won in the second half, and so let's imagine winning. With the SDG Summit at the heart of this September's gatherings, our office, along with the amazing and creative leadership from Richard and his team at Project Everyone, and Brad and his team in New York, are all working to build an SDG pavilion on the North Lawn during the UNGA High-Level Week. It will be a space for determined leaders, businesses, campaigners, policymakers to come together to ensure we put in play the game-changing strategies we need to keep the promise of the SDGs. The pavilion will be connected with an SDG sculpture, a visual beacon with artist Ez Devlin, and it's just coming on screen, and that's what it will look like inside, and that's what it'll be on the North Lawn. And an opening night will be held in the pavilion that we're calling the halftime show, which we hope that our 2 PMs will be involved with. Leading up to September, we're going to launch a halftime campaign and a financing campaign. And Richard's going to share with us much more about those two, as well as share a video to get us started. Your Excellencies, fellow advocates, as you can see, we have many opportunities ahead of us. With that, I invite Co-Chair Prime Minister Mia Mottley for her opening remarks. Prime Minister.
Thank you very much. Halftime is a time for reflection, a time to summon the energy to go again. And I am satisfied that in so doing, we need to get the constituent elements of what we will need in line. That is why we have been spending so much time talking to everyone about how we give oxygen. Because without oxygen, we will have noble intentions, but no progress. The Bridgetown Initiative, therefore, is about recognizing that countries in facing a polycrisis moment can resolve that survival is not sufficient, and that what is needed is investment. And doing the right thing happens also to be good investment, whether we're doing it for the climate, to be able to protect ourselves and to do the green transition that we need to save the planet, whether we're doing it to educate our children so that they do not become victims of a digital divide and a world that is in any event threatening to carry us into spaces that our minds just cannot contemplate with artificial intelligence and other things, whether it is with respect to health. We keep quiet about the silent slow motion pandemic, which is antimicrobial resistance. It has already taken the lives directly or indirectly of 5 million people a year. These are the things that we want to change. And it sounds very highbrow and very academic, but it is fundamentally about people being able to sleep easier each and every night and not having to worry about where the next meal will come from, or whether they will access health care, or whether they will be able to find jobs, or whether they can have shelter. These are the things that are necessary. We tell our children to focus on what they need first before what they want. The world needs to focus on what we need before what we want becomes our primary obsession. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Prime Minister, for your sharp and always inspiring remarks. Co-Chair Prime Minister Trudeau, the floor is yours.
Thank you, Anne-Marie. Merci d'être ici tout le monde, que ce soit en personne ou virtuel. It's great to sit down with a number of you advocates in person for the first time. I look forward to working with all of you over the coming many opportunities. We're going to have to step up because, as you say, Anne-Marie, this is a moment where the world needs to take stock of where we are. And how we move forward now is really going to be unbelievably important for the trajectory over decades on what we're doing. Coming out of the pandemic, dealing with the return of war to Europe with Russia's illegal invasion, which has had global consequences on food supply and fertilizer, but also on a recognition of the larger challenges we're facing as a world. This is a moment where people around the world are feeling massive anxiety. Whether it's because of the impacts of climate change that are becoming realer and more terrifying almost every single day, whether it's on global inequality, whether it's on misinformation and disinformation that's destabilizing democracies and systems of government, whether it's this sense that the very idea of progress that so many of our countries have always build cohesion around, that the hard work of one generation leads to greater opportunities for your kids and moves forward. Well, that's all under attack right now and under doubt for the first time in very real ways. And how, as a world, we are able to reassure people and give them confidence for the future is more than just about a mindset. It's more than just about saying, okay, it's all going to be good, let's stay positive. It goes to our very trust in institutions, in the systems we've built around us and what keeps us looking out for our neighbors. Because whenever there's a situation of real crisis, the natural human instinct is to fold inwards, hunker down, and hope the storm passes by. Well, this storm will not pass us by unless we actually reach out to each other and work together. And that's where the SDG goals are so unbelievably important. And the work we need to do to demonstrate that, well, what we all learned from the pandemic and so many other crises, none of us is alone in this. And none of us can imagine that if we take care of ourselves, we'll make it through. That's not true anymore, and that's not going to happen in the world. And that's where countries of all different sizes and types need to be much more engaged in making sure that our neighbors are doing well, that people on the other side of the world have the same kinds of opportunities. And that was brilliantly encapsulated in the creation of the SDGs, but it's almost like right now that we've understand just how essential they are for everything else. We cannot build jobs, a sustainable economy, even for the richest countries in the world, unless there is pathways for all citizens to be part of it, because the system will simply drag each other down. We have work to do, and we're here to do it. On va le faire ensemble.
Thank you so much, Prime Minister.